Mel Brooks, if Mel Brooks wasn't around, he wouldn't have given son to, or he wouldn't have given son. Mel Brooks, if Mel Brooks wasn't around, he wouldn't have given birth. Well, I guess he didn't give birth. Mel Brooks' wife wouldn't have given birth to Max Brooks,
To Max
and we would have
Brooks.
gotten a zombie survival guide.
That's true. And what would
World War
we?
Z, the book.
How would we know how to survive the zombie apocalypse without Max Brooks?
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either.
I'd have a loose idea, but I wouldn't have like a handbook.
Hello, David and Frank here with another episode of our quest to find out what our favorite movie of all time is, at least up until this point. Obviously, we will see other movies that haven't come out yet, or others that have come out and we just haven't seen. Today we're talking about comedic satires, and I've chosen my runner-up. Here it is. Just one second, Frank. My runner-up first is Galaxy Quest. When I was kind of picking one, I was gonna
Which time?
multiple times. I was gonna pick Watchmen originally, which is a satire, kind of about who do we look up to as heroes and who holds them accountable. Watchmen is not funny though. I don't know if you've ever seen it. The movie is not funny. It's very serious. Galaxy Quest in a weird way has the same theme, where it's sort of about who are these heroes. If you haven't seen it, basically you have to imagine Tim Allen as William Shatner, and Tim Allen's cast of this original show called Galaxy Quest that's in the 60s that has a fandom that's very similar to Star Trek.
Very diehard fandom.
Yeah, and it is Star Trek. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they make the jokes.
that's definitely what the satire
Yeah,
is.
and then they make it about red shirts. It's about exploration. It's very clearly a parody of Star Trek. Sorry. One of the differences though is Galaxy Quest kind of flips it on its head. It's like, are these people really heroes? In the movie, they are just actors, and they're sort of abducted by these aliens who have seen their footage and think that it's like documentaries.
They
or
call
something.
them their like historical
records or
yeah,
tapes?
something like that.
Something like that. They watch them and they think that these people are real heroes. So when these aliens come into trouble with a Star Trek like villain, then they need to find these people. Commander Taggart is his name in the movie. The movie's got a great cast. Tim Allen probably in his last like big knowledgeable role, like in a movie at least.
I can't think of something that came out after this that I like
Yeah.
really enjoyed him in.
No, I can't think of either. Sigourney Weaver's in here. She plays a very well, kind of a typical role, but she's like blonde in this movie. I think she looks a little bit different than her other roles. And she's kind of like the sex appeal character in the
She's
show.
the bombshell.
She's the
Yeah.
bombshell, and in she kind of portrays a different side of that in the movie. The late Alan Rickman, fantastic actor who plays
Late
the Spock,
great Alan Rickman.
the Spock equivalent.
Yeah, and his character almost looks like his brain's on the outside
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. Tony Shalhoub does some good stuff in here. Sam Rockwell, who's just always a pleasure. And Justin Long, who's like the head nerd in this thing, who's the expert even further than the actors in the show.
Head nerd, but also
Yeah.
a hero.
Yeah, these aliens who they studied these tapes and they made their ships as a model of the ships from Galaxy Quest. So at the kind of climax of the movie, they need to figure out what the blueprints are. And the only one who like really knows this are these diehard fans. And Justin Long talks to him through a communicator. If you like Star Trek, you've probably already seen this movie.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
say that's a pretty safe bet.
It would be hard not to. And I think now, especially like that Orville show that came out, I haven't watched it yet, the Seth MacFarlane one, but it seems more or less the same kind of idea.
I feel like I
Whereas
haven't
that's
even
long
heard of that.
form. It's like a new Star Trek show, but it's like a parody of Star Trek.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the satire though is very out in the open. That's really just all it's about. Like anyone can be a hero. That's really what the core of the movie is. It's about who is a hero, what defines it, what are the actions that take it, that shape
And
it.
also at the same time, like maybe your heroes aren't exactly what they seem.
Exactly, yeah. And heroes aren't always perfect. They're flawed characters, just like everyone else.
Flawed.
Point them out. That's what Frank does. He points out people's flaws.
You.
Hey, that's mean. Don't point at people. Anyways, how? I feel personally attacked. Yeah, Galaxy Quest. That's my runner-up for satirical comedy. Frank, what you got?
All right. So for my runner-up, I've got Idiocracy, which is going to be, let's see, we've got Terry Crews posted in on the cover of Freebie. This'll work.
Yeah,
That'll work just
that'll
fine.
definitely work.
Idiocracy. Really good satire. Really enjoy this movie. You haven't seen this movie, David.
I have not, and this is like that movie that You know, everyone's missing a movie
Yeah.
that everyone else
I
saw.
mean, I'm missing a few movies.
Yeah, I need to watch Idiocracy for sure.
So to give you a quick little rundown, Idiocracy is it's a Mike Judge joint. Quite enjoyable, you know.
Can you say that about anyone with Spike Lee, or is that like copyrighted? I don't know.
I don't know. Am I gonna get in trouble for that? We'll find out.
Find out.
We'll see. Yeah, so it's a Mike Judge project, real awesome. Luke Wilson plays this like everyday dude who's a private in the army.
Okay.
I think it's the CIA, some government agency,
Yeah.
the Pentagon chooses him to be part of this experimental project where they're going to cryogenically freeze him.
Okay.
He's like hibernating. I haven't seen the movie in a minute. I'm pretty sure they get attacked or something. A bomb goes off and he's like covered in rubble and he's just like forgotten about for like 500 years.
Okay.
Events happen. This machine turns off. He wakes up. And he is in this future, still in America, where everybody is just super dumbed down. Just dumb. And suddenly he's the smartest man in the world. Just this everyday dude. These people are making horrible decisions with the planet. The American president is this character named President Camacho, who rides across the country on like this huge motor trike shooting a machine gun. It's like a motor trike train. It's crazy, dude.
We're not that far off, everybody.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. But yeah, super fun watch. If you have like zero patience for stupid people, you might not get it through the whole movie. My brother can't watch this movie.
It's just too much.
It's too much for him. It's so good. It's so good. Very quotable movie.
Okay.
Fantastic. My
All right.
runner-up, Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. I need to watch this, definitely. Ooh.
What you got for your winner, Dave?
Number one, man. Number one. And I feel like a lot of times it's always the runner-up that I'm struggling to find. As soon as I said comedic satire, I was like, well, it's got to be Doctor Strangelove. Or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. It's got an extra title to it. Doctor Strangelove is quite a movie. Quite a little movie. Quite a little movie. Stanley Kubrick, I'm a huge fan, and I watched a lot of his movies when I was younger. A lot of those kind of got me really interested in film and kind of studying about traits of directors and tropes, key points of style. I didn't watch this one though until much later. Like I saw this movie last year.
Okay.
I'd always wanted to watch it. It was just one of those things I kept putting off. It is fantastic, everybody.
I'm gonna have to give it a watch.
Seriously, this is like one of probably the greatest movies in American history. Easily one of the best American films. Doctor Strangelove. So what's it about? Doctor Strangelove is 3 separate stories going at the same time. You have 3 groups of characters. One is the president, who is played by Peter Sellers, who plays 3 roles in this movie. So in one scenario, you have the president, Peter Sellers, and also Dr. Strangelove, who is this like ex-Nazi scientist that assumedly the government made some kind of deal with after the war and like hired him to make death machines.
As we do.
Obviously, everyone knows that. He's also Peter Sellers. So those 2 were there along with a bunch of other generals, and they're in the war room trying to decide a military strike. Meanwhile, you have a group of soldiers who are in a plane, and their mission is to drop this bomb, and they have very clear, detailed instructions. And it's like, after you get past this certain point, that's it. Don't listen to anything on the radio. Turn the radios off. You're going in there, you're dropping the bomb. So they're ready to make this move, and they're just waiting for the final cue. Then you also have the man who is supposed to be issuing this attack, and that's Commander Ripper, who's played by Sterling Hayden.
Ripper?
No, that's not Commander Ripper. This guy is.
Okay.
Commander Ripper, though, is losing his mind. He's at a separate military base where we have Peter Sellers again, who plays now a British soldier, who's trying to convince Commander Ripper to come back to reality, basically. And he's putting a lot of lives in danger. He's got this total delusion thing. And basically, like, there's this miscommunication between all 3. All 3 are on a different spot of the same plan, and they're all waiting for key information from another part of this entanglement, I guess. What really sticks out is satire, is that the movie addresses sort of the inefficiency of the government.
Just the kind of bungling of information.
Exactly. That you can't have this many moving parts in the wheel without something being a little bit off. The other part of it, though, is definitely about the Red Scare, about the scare of communism, kind of like how we have our own enemies here at home. thermonuclear war and sort of the whole culture that was around that in the 60s when this movie came out. So at the time, I mean, I guess it must have been pretty biting satire.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was so fresh in everyone's mind. This was still something that's still going on. Today, you can watch this movie, though, and make a lot of kind of like parallel kind of connections between.
Yeah, we have a very similar thing going on right now with
Yeah.
the tensions and the fears,
Yes, exactly. And
the bungling of information.
the bungling of information, exactly. Um, what I really like about this movie and what I like about all Stanley Kubrick movies, you know, sometimes you watch these movies that are older and it's clear that they are old. You know, the dialogue's outdated, the scenarios are outdated, the motivations of characters don't make sense anymore. In these movies, they all still seem so believable. All the conflicts still seem so tangible. There's just something really great and timeless about his filmmaking. So if you've never seen any Kubrick, I think Doctor Strangelove would be a great one to start off on, especially if you're into like political or maybe military themes and stories like that. You might latch onto it, but any of them, really, any of them.
Good recommendation, David. I'm
Thank you.
sold.
Oh, well, we'll watch it right now. That's what we'll do after this.
Let's do it.
It's so good. It's so good. You have one more for us, though, right?
All right. My winner is going to be Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
A Mel Brooks classic, if you will. This is a movie that we're both fond of.
Oh,
I
yeah,
believe.
for sure. This is like a huge one.
I brought my copy because you have the Blu-ray, but my copy just has a better cover. Look at that fantastic cover.
Yeah, that is
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Big fan of a lot of the Mel Brooks stuff. Blazing Saddles, I really enjoyed. My grandpa was really into westerns, so they always have like a special place in my heart. This is like a comedy western.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks joint, got Willy Wonka in it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's great.
Um,
Willy Wonka.
Yeah, Willy Wonka in the Old West. What are you gonna do? So if you haven't seen Blazing Saddles, it's a satirical comedy about a African American. He's not a sheriff yet at the beginning of the movie. He's just a railroad worker.
Mm-hmm.
He gets himself into a little bit of trouble, finds himself on the hangman's noose.
Mm-hmm.
While the noose is around his neck, he gets pulled off by some crooked, I think he's a governor.
Yeah, some statesman, some kind of guy.
Yeah, some politician, some
Yeah.
crooked guy. So he gets sent to this town that's overrun by bandits and henchmen,
Mhm.
if you will, to be the new sheriff. The townspeople are not going to be happy about this, and this politician knows that. That's the whole reason for him sending them down there.
Mhm.
His deputy, when he gets down there, is Gene Wilder, drunk in a cell, just passed out. He looks like an inmate. He's some famous like gunslinger in this universe, but he's like past
The
his
Waco
prime.
Kid.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what he is. The Waco.
The
Oh my
Waco
God,
Kid.
you're the Waco Kid.
Yeah.
So the sheriff shows up, obviously, and the townspeople are not having it. They're not happy.
Yeah.
Gene
No.
Wilder pretty much just tells them, "Don't let them get to you," and he pretty much takes the same stance. And the thing I really like about this satire is it just makes fun of racism in it of itself.
Yeah.
I've always thought that the idea of racism is just ridiculous, and that's the way it should be treated. Because the idea that you are better than someone just based on like where you come from or the color of your skin
Something that you have no control over.
yeah, it's absolutely
you were just
ludicrous.
dealt
It's
at the
a
beginning of
ridiculous
life,
idea. But yeah, it's a fun
That's a great
way.
point.
It's a fun way to point that out, like this little movie here.
Mhm.
It's an awesome little western, very Looney Toony in the comedy,
Yeah.
very slapstick.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
a big henchman named Mongo, and they slip him like a dynamite cigar, and it blows up in his face.
Yeah.
The grand finale end scene, they all end up in a giant tussle, and
Yeah.
there's a big fourth wall break where they literally break through one of the walls, and they're in another movie set, and there's a big musical number going. They keep fighting. It's fantastic.
It's great.
It's a really good
It
watch.
just unwinds. It just keeps going.
Such a fun movie.
Mhm.
So many good little scenes. There's the scene where they're looking for henchmen to cause a ruckus, and there's all the different type of evildoers.
Yes,
There's
that's one of
like
my
some
favorite
Klansmen.
scenes.
There's some Mexican
There's some
banditos.
Nazis in
You got some
there.
Nazis going.
Yeah.
Oh, they were just missing like some ninjas. It's really funny stuff.
Yeah. I think they had some Mongols too, didn't they? I could be wrong.
Yeah, there might have been some Mongol warriors.
Yeah,
They
we
must
need
have
to
been
watch
real
this
hot
again.
out in the West, man.
Oh yeah, I bet. All that fur. Today, in like a coincidence, we had two just very iconic directors. Two directors where when you watch their movies, you instantly know you're watching their movies.
Oh yeah, it feels like a blank.
Exactly. Kubrick and Brooks, both just awesome guys. Totally opposite ends of the spectrum, but both just extremely high quality. So huge recommendation for either of those two directors' films. For sure.
Definitely. Speaking of recommendations, if you have an
Ooh.
idea or a suggestion for a subgenre that we can do on this movie quest of ours, shoot it to us down here in the comments. Shoot us an email at davidandfrankandbeans@gmail.com. What is your favorite satirical comedy? Shoot us a comment below. Shoot us a comment below about anything.
Yeah, really. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to get super strict here with the rules, everybody.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Let's have a little
If
bit
you
of
haven't
fun.
done it already, like and subscribe. And yeah, tune in next time. Watch the old stuff.
Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Peace out.